Hey, this is AJ with Blackhawk Bushcraft. I want to bring you a little video and show you a Firesteel hack for those of you that really enjoy using a Firesteel, or also known as a Ferrocerium rod, as your primary device for starting fire. I will say this, nothing really beats a lighter and a fire plug. Not that you can't use a Ferrocerium rod or other items, but when you need a fire very quickly, this is probably the most easy and efficient way to just get a flame off the get-go. Yeah, and I know. I'm gonna have somebody say, well, it's snowing and it's cold and you're not gonna be able to get the fuel to combust because Morris Kohansky said something or this or that. But a lot of the people that say don't carry a lighter because Morris Kohansky said that a Ferrocerium rod is better, they might have heard what he said, but they didn't hear what he said. I'll just leave it at that. That'll be another video for another time. But as you can see here, you've got these little fire plugs. I like to carry methods of starting fire on my person, especially in wintertime, so I'm not having to try to get into gear or little pouches and stuff like that. In the wintertime, it's just easier to just be able to pull it out of pockets and have what I need. So again, got a fire plug. And of course, this is compressed. You pull it apart, it lights a lot easier. But this is just basically paraffin wax and paraffin oil in these little cotton swabs that are used for bloody noses and who knows what else. But that's what I really like. But not everybody enjoys using a Bic lighter for whatever reason, and that's okay. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to show you maybe some things that you may want to consider. But in the end, whatever you want to do is completely up to you. For me, the lighter is always going to be my primary fire starting device. Everything else would come secondary to that. That being said, I do love me a good ferro rod. So let me just put these away really quick. In my pocket, let me get some more space here. This snow, we finally started getting some really good snow. But I don't know how you carry your knives. I like to carry my knives, depending on the knife, like this as a neck knife, just with an adjustable lanyard, and then I've got my ferro rod hooked to the sheath so that I've got knife and fire. And yes, I am not using a full tang knife today. And the reason why is because for me, whether it's full tang or partial tang, doesn't really matter. I will talk about this more in another video. I'm going to just go ahead and pull off this ferro rod. So this is a rod that I assemble, and a lot of the times if people carry a rod with their knife, the one thing that they usually have to fidget with if they're carrying prepared tinder is to pull that out of a pouch or out of a pocket, or again, go to their backpack, get in their little fire kit, pull out prepared tinder, whether that's fire plugs, whether it's jute twine, whether it's cotton balls with Vaseline or whatever. These are fire rods that I put together myself, and I always make a little makeshift handle with high-vis duct tape, inch wide, okay? Because duct tape is really good to use as a fire accelerant and a fire extender. The problem is if you just rely on processing down duct tape, which a lot of people do, they'll, pull out their roll of duct tape and then, try to shred it and whatever. And I will still say too, if you are using duct tape as an accelerant, it's still better just to rip off a piece and then you use your lighter to light that versus messing around with a ferro rod. But if you didn't have a lighter, or you didn't want to use a lighter and you just wanted to use your ferro rod, and you didn't have prepared tinder in your pocket or easily accessible, you can just solve that problem in the way that you wrap your handle. So I want to show you here, and hopefully this will work because this is really soggy. But hey, if it doesn't work, then you can say you didn't prepare your area to be able to receive the fire, and that is probably likely going to happen because this is super slushy. So let me see what I can do here. Here's a piece of wood that will probably work okay, that's not too saturated. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out. unwrap this off the handle. And that's what's so great about this. When you make these little duct tape handles to hold your Ferrocerium rod, you don't really even need that to use the rod. It just gives you a little bit better control. But what I do is the following. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get me a length here. I'm gonna rip it right here. Okay, let's go ahead and tuck that away for a minute. And I wanna show you something. On the inside, when I wrap these, I actually add the following to my duct tape. In fact, I'll probably pull it on this end because it'll work a little bit better. But as you can see here, I have waxed paper, and I can just pull this out. I'm just gonna set that here for a minute and just wrinkle this up. Let's just put that right there. I'm gonna pull off some more. This gives you the ability to carry not only an accelerant, but resolves the need for you to have to use your knife, especially if the duct tape is more durable like this, and tear it into a bunch of pieces, okay? The one thing that I will do though, pull out my knife, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take this and just give it a couple slices there just to get me some little dangly ends right there. I can get that in frame, sorry. So I just took my knife, sliced it, and then I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna wad it all up in a pile of all sorts of sticky goodness. Pull these little ends out. These little twingers are I'm just gonna twist these up. And I've got to, basically, if you're gonna use the wax paper with the duct tape, you've actually got to put one piece in that will stick to the tape, and that will not come off, and then you put another piece of wax paper. So in like 12 to 14 inch lengths, you put a piece of wax paper and then another piece of wax paper, and then when you roll it up, when you unroll it, you can get the wax paper out, which is what I've done right here. Okay, and I'm just gonna take this, let's get the sticky side there. I'm just gonna put that right here and put all this together, make sure it doesn't get wet and squishy. Bend that back, and let's go ahead and give this a strike and see how this does. Again, it's kind of wet. Maybe it's not gonna work too well. Let's just tuck this back here. This is why a lighter works so much better, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to fidget with as many things. Okay, so I got my knife, I've got my ferro rod. Let's see if we can get this wax paper to ignite. Just gonna go ahead and do the push method. Just like that. And then as that tape starts burning, there you go. So the wax paper is really great to get the tape lit so that the tape can then act as an accelerant and a flame extender, and you don't have to shred it up into a bunch of pieces, process it down, try to pull out the threads, which can be done. It's just very labor intensive. Even this isn't all that time consuming, but it definitely takes more time than if you just had a lighter and you lit the tape itself. But again, sometimes it's just fun to use a ferro rod. This gives you the ability to carry a flame accelerant and extender that you don't have to process down if you just wrap your ferro rod with the tape and just encase wax paper in it. And again, as you can see here, that just burns like a charm. So imagine if you were trying to start a fire and you needed a flame accelerant and an extender. You know, you're not obviously not going to do this with your, even if you had a lighter. This is still more efficient doing it this way than a lighter. You're not going to just hold your lighter out here and keep expending it and getting the end really hot. Okay, you're going to light your tape and then let the tape do the job. So again, if you carry a ferro rod, or if you make your own, or even if you don't, like some ferro rods you can buy, they just have little cheap plastic handles. You can pull it off and then actually wrap the tape and make your own. And this gives you the ability to carry something that can easily take a spark from a ferro rod. You have your ferro rod and your tinder and your flame accelerant and your flame extender all in one tool, so that if you have a neck sheath like this, you can just keep everything with you. And you don't need to really worry about pulling stuff out of pockets, although I do recommend keeping other types of tinders on your person at all time. These will take a spark much easier than wax paper will take a spark if you process down these little fire plugs, which are dirt cheap to make, and you can make tons and tons and tons of them. And if you do run out, you just make more, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So there you go. My partial tang Mora knife in my sheath with my ferro rod and my duct tape and my wax paper to catch the spark all in one. I can wear this around my neck. You can do the same thing if you prefer a belt sheath. Depending on the knife, I will wear it around my neck, or depending on the knife, I may find that carrying it as a belt knife is much more comfortable. So this is AJ with Blackhawk Bushcraft. Thank you for your likes and subscribes. Thanks for all you do to support the channel, and we will talk to you later.